welcome to the series Learn Java in Depth. Today we are going to discuss first topic that we have listed out in my previous video. So these are the topics that we have listed down. The first topic is Introduction to Java. Before starting to learn Java, let us deep dive its history and see how the language oriented. So in 1990, Sun Microsystem has received a project to develop a software for consumer electronic devices that could be controlled by the remote. Okay, and in the 1991, James Gosling and his team member met to discuss this project. So each team member have separate responsibility. Some member are doing the business analysis, some member was doing the graphics analysis, and James Gosling was to identify the proper programming language for the project. So Gosling thought C and C++ could be used to develop the project, but he has faced some problem with them is that they were system dependent, hence could not be used on a various processor which the electronic devices might use. So he started developing a new language which was completely system dependent, and this language was initially called as Oak. Since this name was registered by some other company, so later it was changed to the Java. So why the name is Java? So there is a story basically. James Gosling and his team member were consuming lots of coffee while developing this language. They felt that they were able to complete the development of this Java programming language because of good quality of coffee they consume. So the coffee has its own roles in developing this language, and good quality coffee was exported to the entire world from a place called Java Island. Okay, hence they fixed the name of the place for the language as Java, and the symbol of the Java is also as a coffee, right? So these are the brief introduction about the history of the Java. Now let us deep dive the features of the Java. So what are the features of the Java? So here are some list of the features that I have listed down. So let's discuss one by one. So first feature is simple. So Java is a simple programming language. So rather than saying that this is the feature of Java, we can say that this is the design aim of Java. Meaning when the Java is developed, they wanted it to be a simple because it has to work on an electronic device where less memory is available. Now the question is how Java is made simple. So first of all, difficult concept of C and C++ has been omitted in Java. For example, the concept of pointer, which is very complex in C and C programming language, so which is difficult for both the learner and programmer, has been completely eliminated from Java. Next is JavaSoft. JavaSoft is nothing but the team who developed the Java is called with this name. So the people maintain the same syntax of C and C++ in Java, so that programmer who knows C and C++ already will find Java already familiar. Okay. Next feature of the Java is object oriented. So Java is an object-oriented programming language, meaning this Java programs uses object and classes. So what is an object? So an object is anything that really exists in this world and can be distinguished from the others. So everything that we see physically will come into this definition. For example, every human being, a book, a tree, and so on is called as an object. Now, every object has a property, okay, and its behavior. So let us try to illustrate this point by taking an example of dog. So it has property like name, height, color, etc. And these property are represented by the variable in our programming language. Now the object dog will have some action also like running, barking, eating. So these actions are represented by various methods. Like the various method nothing but the function in our programming language. So various tasks are done by method only. So we can conclude that object contains the variables and method in our programming. And again the class. So the group of object which have same behavior, meaning the property and the action will come under the same group. That is called as a class. So class represent a group name given to several objects. For example, take the dogs. So dog can be Pinky, Nancy, Tom, etc. So all these four dogs exhibit same behavior and hence belong to the same group. So that is called as a dog, right? So dog is a class name which contain four objects. And in the other word, we could define a class as a model or a blueprint for creating the object. So we write the characteristic of the object in the class. Let's say in the case dog. This means a class can be used as a model in creation of the object. So just like the object, class also contain the properties and actions. So if you can see in these pictures, class can also class dog is containing some properties and actions, right? So we can use a class as a model for creating the object. So to write a class, we can write all the characteristic of the object. We should follow the class, right? So this class, so this characteristic will guide us to create the object. So overall, class and its objects are almost the same with the differences that class does not really exist physically, while an object exists. For example, if we say dog, so it forms a picture into our mind that with four legs, 2 ears, some length, and some height, right? This picture in our mind is a class. If we tally this picture with the physical things around us, we can find that Tom living in our house is satisfying this quality, right? So Tom, which physically exists, is an object and not a class. So if you can take the another example, let's say flower. So flower is in class because it really does not exist. But if you say flower like rose, lily, jasmine, these are really exist in our world. So these are called as object. So I hope you understood what is the difference between object and class and what is the object and what is the class, right? So let's move to the next property that is distributed. So distributed in the sense all the information in today's world is available over computer on a network, right? So using Java, we can write a program which capture information and distribute it to the client. This is possible because Java can handle the protocols like TCP, IP, or UDP. That is why Java is a distributed. Now next feature is robust. So robust means strong. So Java programs are strong and they don't crash easily like C and C++. So there are two reasons for this. Firstly, Java has got excellent inbuilt exception handling feature. An exception is nothing but is an error that occur at runtime. Meaning, if an exception occur, the program terminates abruptly, giving rise to the problem like loss of data, right? So to overcome such problems, that is called exception handling, basically. This means that even though the exception occur in a Java, no harm will happen. And then another reason for making that Java is a robust is that it is having the very good memory management feature. So most of the C and C++ program crashes easily in middle of because of not allocating the sufficient memory and deallocating this free memory in a program. So such problem will not occur in Java because user need not to allocate or deallocate the memory in Java. Everything will be taken care by the JVM, that is the part of the Java. For example, JVM will allocate the necessary memory needed by the Java program. We'll discuss in detail about the JVM. So what is the JVM and what is the roles and responsibility? So that is the feature of the robust. Next feature is secure. Secure means Java is a very secure programming language because it can easily detect the virus and can be eliminated and minimized by using the Java on internet. And next and most important feature of the Java is system independent. That is a very important feature of the Java. So Java's bytecode. So we will understand what is the bytecode. So Java bytecode is not machine dependent. It can be run on any machine with any processor and any operating system. Meaning, if you write the Java program in Windows operating system, you can execute the same program in another operating system. Let's say Linux, right? So with the help of JVM, so we will discuss JVM in detail. So we will understand that what is the responsibility and how that make Java program as a system independent. Okay. So next feature is called portability. Again, the portability means if a program yields the same result on every machine, then the program is called as portable. So Java programs are portable because this is the result of Java system independence. Means if you run the one program in Windows system and it is printing like hello world. Same program if you run in the Linux operating system, it will also print the hello world. It means that easily one program can be run on another operating system and run on the different another operating system, but in the terms of output there will be no difference. So that makes Java portable. Second thing is Java interpreted. What is the interpreter? Interpreter means nothing but it is going to scan one by one all the statement that we have written in the programs, and then it will compile it. So, so basically that is the work of the JVM with the help of JIT. That is nothing but just-in-time compiler. So that is also we will discuss in detail in later point of time. Second important feature of the Java is high performance. High performance means the problem with the interpreter inside the JVM is that is slow basically, because this Java program used to run slow. To overcome this problem along with the interpreter, JavaSoft people have introduced just-in-time compiler. Okay, so which enhance the speed of execution. So now in JVM, both interpreter and just-in-time compiler work together to run the program and make it fast basically. So that is because Java is high performance. Another feature of the Java is multi-threaded. So you know what is the thread? So thread represents a individual process to execute group of statement. So JVM uses basically several threads to execute different block of code, and creating the multiple thread is called as multi-threaded. We will also discuss this threading concept in our upcoming videos basically. Now the next advantage or feature of the Java is scalability. So Java program can be implemented on a wide range of computers with varying level of sources, from embedded device to mainframe computer. This is possible because Java is compact and platform independent. So there is no dependency on the platforms. Again, the most important feature of the Java is independent, right? And the last last point of the feature in this topic we have mentioned is dynamic, right? So before developing of Java, only static tests used to be displayed in the browser. But when James Gosling demonstrated an animated atomic molecule where the rays are moving and stretching, the viewer were dumbstruck. Means this animation was done using an applet. So that is another feature of the core Java that actually we are not going to cover in this series because that is actually very rarely used in a today day-to-day world. But using that applet and swing, there is another concept called swing. We can make that Java as a dynamic. We can make the object as a movable. Okay, so these are the features of the Java. Now let's move to the next topic that we are going to discuss in today's video. That is Java Virtual Machine, JVM, that we have talked about. So we'll see what are the tasks of the JVM. So JVM is a heart of entire Java program execution process. It is responsible for taking the dot class file and converting each bytecode instruction into the machine language. Basically, whatever the Java program we will write, that is not understandable to machine. So there is a component called JVM that is sitting between user interface and the operating systems, that is converting whatever the instruction that we are writing in a programming language into the byte code, that is nothing but the machine understandable code basically. So let's see the diagram of the JVM. So first of all, the .java. So when we write the program and when we store it, we'll make as a some class name .java, and then .java program is converted into a .class file. That is by using that is with the help of JVM basically. Remember this Java compiler is outside of the JVM. So there is a Java compiler and JVM. So both are separate entity basically. Now this .class file is given to the JVM, and in JVM there is a module that is called program called class loader subsystem. Okay, class loader subsystem, which perform the some list of operation internally when you save the program. First, it will load the .class file into the memory. Okay, then it verifies whether all bytecode instructions are proper or not. If it finds any instruction suspicious, the execution is rejected immediately. But if the byte instructions are proper, then it allocate necessary memory to execute the program. So basically, so there is some couple of memory area that JVM will do automatically when we save it and run it. So, so basically this memory area is divided into five parts called method area, heap, Java stack, registered, and native method stacks. We'll see one by one on each method area or memory area. So first is method area. So what is method area? Method area is the memory block which store the class code and code of variables and code of method in the Java program basically. Okay. So basically the class and the file will be stored in the method area, and then second is come to the heap area. So this is the area where objects are created basically. So whenever JVM load a class, methods and heap area are immediately created in it. So when you create the programs and when you create the object, so that object will be decided into the heap area. So another memory area is called Java stacks. What is Java stack? So methods code that means when inside the Java program, let's say we have defined three methods, right? So all the method code is stored on method area. But while running a method, it needs again some memory to store the data and its result, right? This memory is allocated on Java stack. That is called Java stack. So separate frame will be created in the Java stack where the method is executed. JVM uses a separate thread or process to execute this each methods. Another memory area is called PC. So PC register. PC is nothing but the program counter. These are the registers which contains memory address of the instruction of the methods. So let's say if there are three methods, three PC register will be used to track the instruction of method. So it will keep the record of what are the method has been called, and from one method, let's say we call from one method to another method. So it needs to track from where to where it got, so that while returning the result, it will return the result in a reverse order. So for that pointer, it will store in this PC area. And the third, sorry, and the last memory area that is the called native method stacks. So as the name suggests native, it means Java methods are executed on Java stack, as you know. Similarly, native method, for example, C and C++ functions are executed on native method stacks. To execute the native methods, generally native method library, for example, C or C++ header files are required. So basically Java is supporting backward compatibility. So if you have written the programs in C and C++ and if you want to execute it, so there is a library for that also. That is, and that library basically will load and sit reside inside the native method stack area. So these are the five method memory area which will be allocated for the different types of the component basically. So these are the complete architecture of the JVM and working execution flow. So let's see if we have this couple of statement that we have written in our program. So how this will interpret and how this will execute by using the JVM. So when the interpreter start execution from first instruction, it convert print A into machine code and give it to the microprocessor. For this, say the interpreter has taken 2 nanosecond time, then the processor takes it, execute it, and the value of A is displayed. Same goes to the next instruction, that is print B, and next interpreter comes to the third instruction. Let's say it reaches to the third line, okay, which is looping statement. We'll again discuss looping statement in detail in the upcoming video. So let's say there is a looping statement concept. So when we want to execute the list piece of the code again and again. So instead of writing that many number of time, we'll use the looping concept, put that code, piece of code basically inside the loop, and then it will execute. Okay, so this is how basically Java compiler will read one by one, that will interpret it, compile it, and perform the operation with the help of JVM. So that is the important things. Now we have come to the end of this video, and as we have discussed, after each video at the end we are going to discuss some important interview questions. So these are the important interview questions that we have come across based on this topic that we have covered. So first interview question is like, why pointers are eliminated from Java? So as you know, pointer leads to the confusion for the programmer because it pointed to the memory addresses, and pointer may crash easily. For example, when we add two pointer, the program crashes immediately. The same thing could also happen when we forget to free the memory allocated to the variable and reallocate it to the some other variable. So in that case also, the program might get crash. That's why the pointer got removed. And another point is like, pointer breaks security, meaning using pointer, harmful program like virus and other hacking program can be developed. And because of these three reasons, and there are so many other reasons also, Java has removed the pointer. Now come to the second question. So what is the difference between functions and a method? So a method is a function that is written inside the class. So we do not have a function in Java. Instead, we have a method. This means whenever a function is written in Java, it should be written inside the class only. But if we talk about the C++ or C, we can write the function inside as well as the outside of the class. So in C++, they are called as member function and not the methods, but in Java it is called as methods. So this is the basic difference between methods and function. Now the third question is Java purely object-oriented programming language or not? So some people say that it is not object-oriented programming language, and they mention like some list of instruction like purely object-oriented means it should contain only classes and object. It should not contain primitive data type like int, float, or and float, character, etc. Since they are neither classes nor object. And in Java everything is a object in class. And second point, they mention like in pure object oriented language, we should access everything by message passing, means through the object. But Java contain static variable and method which can be accessed directly without using the object. Right? So based on that, they are saying like this is not the pure object oriented. And third thing they mention like Java does not contain multiple inheritance. It means an important feature of the object-oriented design is liking. So how can we say it's a purely object-oriented? So basically, no doubt, Java is a pure object-oriented programming language because whatever the feature that is not supporting, they have already given the some alternative. For example, even if Java has a primitive data types, these types are used inside a class, never outside, right? So they are part of the class. So if you see the API specification on the class Java specification says that all the arrays and primitive data types, boolean, byte, character, short, int, long, and etc. The and the keyword void are also represented as an object of the class only. So this means that Java is a purely object. And another thing like they have talked about the static variable, right? So even static variable and static methods are written inside a class. When accessing them from the outside, we should use the class name. It means that they are part and parcel of the class definition and should not be considered as an individual element. So for reducing memory utilization, only one copy of them will be created in memory and shared by all the objects. So even though we have static method or variable, we need to use the class name to call that static variable and method. And third thing is like any purely object-oriented language should follow that all the what is a OOPS concept, right? Like it should follow the classes on objects, encapsulation, abstraction, inheritance, and polymorphism. Remember, Java contains all these features, and hence it is a purely object-oriented language. Just because Java does not contain multiple inheritance, we should not say it is not a purely object-oriented language. Multiple inheritance is not the main feature of OOPS. It is only the sub-feature under inheritance. And that is also there is some reason that we will discuss in the inheritance concept basically. So let's move to the next interview question. Which part of JVM will allocate the memory for a Java program? So that we have already come that class loader subsystem of JVM will allocate the necessary memory. Third is, and next question is, which algorithm is used by garbage collector? So basically, we have not come across the garbage collector. That is also we will discuss separately. So basically, garbage collector uses many algorithm, but the most commonly used algorithm is marks and sweep. That is the algorithm, and basically the work of the garbage collector is to remove the unnecessary or unused object. Basically, we will discuss detail in upcoming video. So let's see the what is the next important question. So that is like what is just-in-time compiler? So as you know, JIT is nothing but the just-in-time compiler is a part of JVM which increases the speed of execution of a Java program. S- So this comes to the end of this video. So I hope you understand the basic concept of the Java. We will discuss in detail one by one in upcoming video. So stay tuned. We will meet you soon in the next video. Thank you.